Hey, Tom, thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experience of working with us here at the Abundant Accountant and being in our 8-week sales mastery course. I'd love it if you could share where you're at in the country, how long you've had your firm, and what do you specialize in as far as the services that you provide in your firm?
So I'm in Farmington, New Mexico, and I've had my firm for 18 years now. And I would say I don't really specialize in anything, but I mostly tax.
Yeah, awesome. And you've had your business quite a while. So before we met, what were things like in your firm as it related to your sales process, your pricing, and your client conversions?
Well, I was pretty much just replacing people that left by referrals. I didn't have really an active sales process, and I ended up with some clients that I didn't really want, and it was hard to. I knew things had to change.
Yeah. So when you said you knew things had to change, how did you realize you needed help with your sales process versus something else that had you say, okay, I'm going to book a call with Michelle and her team over there at the Abundant Accountant? So for other firm owners that also might be struggling with their day to day, what were the things that connected the dots for you that made you realize you had a sales challenge?
Um, well, I just knew that I should be charging more,
Hmm.
and it was hard to raise my fees. I didn't have a process in place, and uh, so I was $50 people to death every year,
Hmm.
and I was never going to catch up. And I knew something needed to change, and I'm getting to the last 5 to 10 years of my career, and I need to make it to where I can sell it.
Yeah. I'm gonna sell it for a really high multiple. And like you said, it's been going on and you're just increasing people by $50 and you realized something needed to change. Was there a specific moment, Tom, that you remember where you're like, okay, no more. I realize I need to make some changes. I understand I've got 5 to 10 more years. I want to sell my firm. I need to make it more profitable and increase the revenue. Was there a specific moment or situation that you can take us back to that moment in time and tell us that story about what said enough is enough? What was that tipping point for you?
Well, I do a lot of training. I'm a part of Profit First Professionals, and I went to their conference this year, and I realized that I'm was way undervaluing my services and my value to people.
Yeah.
And and then I just realized it's got to change because I can't do it anymore. I usually work 6.5 days a week during tax season. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And uh, I was never going to get out of that and still be able to make all my bills
Yeah.
and payroll uh, by bumping people $50 a year. And I just said it has to change.
Yeah. I love it. And so you reached out to us and had a phone call and then decided to work with us. What was your research in finding a coaching program or some support to really solve the sales process problem, which for you is mainly your pricing and learning how to implement all these elements that you just didn't even have in your firm for the last 18 years? What were you looking at and comparing when you were evaluating a coaching program that would work for you?
Well, I was looking for a program that would give me an actual process, not, I mean, a concrete system.
Yeah.
And this program was the one that did that. There was a lot of programs out there that say, "Oh, we'll help you to sell," but it was all vagary stuff, and it wasn't a solid plan.
Oh, interesting. And was there anything unique and special that stood out to you when you were doing your due diligence on us and had your call and watched our client testimonials
Mhm.
that was unique and different that stood out than others that you were talking to?
Yeah, I on the testimonials, they were talking about how this course gave them a set plan that they could use, and that really was what set you guys apart for me.
Awesome. So now that you've been through the course, and now you're doing one of these video testimonials,
Yep.
I'd love it if you could share what have been your wins and celebrations in completing your 8-week sales mastery course? What have been some of the biggest shifts in how you feel now versus how you felt before? And then if you want to share any of your financial successes too, because I
Yeah.
know you've made a ton of money.
Well, I'm going to say that my attitude really changed during this course. My confidence in my value and the sales process
Yep.
is way higher than my confidence was before. I was always a people pleaser before, and I would do stuff sometimes begrudgingly, but just because to help people, and that's what I did. But I knew it needed to change, and my confidence in saying, "Well, this is the fee. I'm sorry,"
Yeah.
and uh, if it's not doable, that's fine, and I'm not splitting any difference with you or nothing. It's
Yeah.
just is
Love
or
that.
isn't.
Yeah. And how
And
much total additional revenue have you generated in just the last 8 weeks by sticking
well,
to your grounds and implementing the whole course, literally 100% perfect?
yeah, I've increased just on my tax returns. My revenues are up $57,000 in 8 weeks.
And you've gotten all that money in advance.
All the money's in advance. Yes.
Yeah. And I love that, Tom, because
Yeah.
you were so open to the coaching. You had done this business in your firm for the same
Mhm.
way for 18 years. And you said,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to be the student and I'm going to implement and I'm just going to try it and trust the process. Was there ever a moment that you were going through the course wondering, is this going to really work for me? Like, are they really serious in this process or what you were learning? Did you have any hesitations or doubts throughout the 8 weeks?
Well, I there was,
Mhm.
but it was all my own, you know, uh, old beliefs, I just kind of wonder, some of the work I was doing was really making me to think, and I hadn't thought that way before. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work out, but it did. And I'm really grateful that I did take the class
Yeah.
because things are a lot different now.
Yeah. What would you share, Tom, with another firm owner who might have had their firm for 10, 15, 20 years, like you, been doing the same thing for a while? They might also be in your shoes where they have 5 to 10 years left of their firm. They want to sell it for a high multiple, but they know that they just can't keep going the way things were going. You feeling a little undervalued, not really significantly getting paid your worth. Like, what would you share with another firm owner that might also be in your exact shoes? And you can think about it from a perspective like, what do you wish you would have heard in one of these videos that maybe you haven't shared yet?
Yeah, I think what I would say, what I would have wanted to hear someone say is that if you just do it, you're gonna see a large increase in your fees that's gonna increase your sales multiple
Yeah.
by at least two.
Yeah. Minimum. Yeah. And like you said, now you're not like a people pleaser and a pushover anymore. You've got massive
Nope,
confidence, right?
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I think
confidence is
I
way high.
Yeah, I know. Um, what about if you could share for the analytical firm owners that might be watching this, what did you think about the structure and the weekly assignments and the group coaching calls on a weekly basis? I'd love it if you can share your perspective on
Yeah.
being the student and how it was set
Mhm.
up.
Well, it was organized correctly. Not the way I would have organized it, but that's because I needed to change my perspective. And so, but it all made sense as you were going through it. There was a lot of, and the weekly calls were really beneficial. Seeing people at different stages in the process of the class and how they've improved, and just watching really everybody's confidence just growing over that 8 weeks. It was really impressive.
Awesome. And I know you feel more confident in selling your firm in the future and this last bit that you have of your career. Do you have any other advice before we wrap up that you would love to share with another firm owner that might be watching this, who might be in your shoes, or even if you were to say to yourself, Tom, something, 2 or 3 months ago, who, a firm owner that might feel stuck, might feel unsure if this is going to work for them or not. And what would you say to that firm owner who's really serious about taking things to the next level? They maybe want to sell their firm as an exit strategy, but they just feel really stuck and unsure if this could even work for them. What would you share to your younger self right now?
Well, I would say don't wait. I wish I would have done this 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's worth every investment that you make, the time, effort, and the confidence that you gain is multiplied by all that. And it really is a difference maker when it comes to doing what you're supposed to do. Not just hiring somebody else to help with the 1040s or trying to outsource,
Yeah.
working 6.5 days a week. That's going to be ending.
Yeah, I love it. And earlier, before we even started recording, you told me, Michelle, I didn't even raise my prices high enough like I should have. So you get to do this again.
Well, I was hoping to lose 30 to 40% of my tax clients, and I haven't even lost 10% yet.
And you've made an additional
An additional
57,000
57,000.
of revenue. So that
Yeah.
just goes to show,
Mhm.
how valuable you are and how also underpriced we were, right, in the beginning.
Absolutely.
And also the value you make and the difference you make in all of your clients' lives. They really see that. And I think the ones that really see that will just stick around again next year. And you
Yeah.
can continue this whole process and continue converting because I know you've gotten tax business advisory out of this and plans and other
Mhm.
stuff. So beyond the revenue, how has this success, Tom, impacted your life, your family, and the outlook of the future?
Well, my outlook for the future is, pretty sky high right now. I feel like I'm gonna, uh, ha- I feel like I'm gonna have as much revenue in the last 5 to 8 years as I did in the first 15.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a that's a good way to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about for you personally or anything on the personal side? How have you seen this success trickle into your personal life?
Well, I know my wife is happy to see me more.
Yeah.
Uh, we've had more dinners together this eight
Yeah.
weeks than a lot of tax seasons, so that's been fun.
And you've invested a ton of time into this course. So
Yep.
not only has it been tax season, but you've done the work and you've had more time with your
Yep.
wife. So, even with the time investment and the significant amount of time that you put in over the 8 weeks, it still had this high payoff and you still got more time with your wife.
Mhm.
And I'm just so proud of you. So thank you, Tom, so much for sharing your experience with other firm owners that might be exploring working with us, doing their due diligence and watching these videos. Is there anything else you'd love to share with another firm owner that might be really serious and taking things to this next level and not doing it alone anymore, but being able to get the structure and get the blueprint to make these changes so they don't ever have to feel underappreciated, undervalued, and underpaid?
I'm just gonna go with the Nike slogan and say, just do it. You'll be happy.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Tom, so much for taking out the time. Really appreciate you sharing.
You're welcome. Have a great day.